Well, good morning, everybody. It's Monday, 11 November. Happy Veterans Day to all our veterans out there. It's about 48 degrees out right now, and we're getting ready to head out to the blinds. Batesman's Hile.
Batesman's Hile.
From Deer Camp, Beech Grove, Kentucky. We'll see you on top of the hill. Although I like to think that where I'm hunting at is kind of in the middle of nowhere. It's on a 1,000-acre property that's surrounded by other farms and stuff. And even what's a kind of a bonus for us is on the property south of us. We've talked about it before. It's a Dreamweaver's hunting preserve, and they manage their herds, and they have grain out for them, corn, permanent deer stands, and huge blinds, hope sets and stuff. But still, I don't know if you can hear it in videos, but in the far, far distance, and I know exactly where it's at. It's over in Seabrick, Kentucky, across the Green River. You can hear the coal trains running the tracks early in the morning. We've got a couple owls hooting at each other right now. The chickens are waking up. You can hear the roosters crowing. But what you don't hear is city life. You don't hear cars and trucks and ambulances and fire trucks and police officers running up and down the road. And it's a beautiful way to wake up in the morning. I think it's one of my most favorite ways is you wake up, or I've been awake for a while now, but what I mean is that you're watching the world wake up. And I've watched the world wake up in cities, and I've watched it wake up in many different places, but there's really nothing better than sitting out in the woods in the middle of nowhere and watching the woods wake up. The birds chirping, the owls hooting, the sun creeping over the treetops. It's just it's a whole different feeling. It's one that I hope to be able to enjoy for a long time coming. So, this is my butt pack. I've been carrying this same butt pack since 1973. I got it when I was first stationed in Fulda, Germany, and I've had it ever since. And so what do I carry in my butt pack when I go to my deer blind? Well, let's see. We'll start from the top up here. I got a pair of gloves, my ammunition, spare flashlight, a little multi-tool. I got some doe and estrus and heat for masking scent, a buck folding knife. I got a range finder and my headlamp. And then down here I've got a couple sodas, my cell phone, some Almond Joy snacks, oatmeal cream pies, some crackers. So that's what's in my butt pack today. Normally I would have some Pop-Tarts, strawberry Pop-Tarts, but today I went with the oatmeal cream pies. And maybe some rubber gloves. But that's pretty. Oh, a gator. Sometimes I'll throw a gator or a sock hat in there whenever it's cool enough. I might put a beanie cap or something like that and a gator inside there. But it's plenty warm enough now that I don't need none of that. So, but just in case you wonder what I carry in my butt pack, that's it. No action. I'm surprised nothing's coming out while I got all this stuff sitting on my shooting shelf. But let me pack all this stuff back up and let's continue to wait for some action. Got a deer coming in the area. It's coming up from the bottom right. It's 10:45 and we got a doe up here in the area. She keeps looking back behind her. Sure hoping that so twice yesterday I've coasted down this hill and seen deer. First time was right about in here. 3 does from the right, cut over to the left. This is not fun on my left shoulder. Oh. Can't keep it in the path. Oh man, okay, the buck came up. I made a little bit too much noise, and he took off, went back down the hill. They came right back up, closer to the brush pile, and I dropped him. He's still squirming a little bit, but I got him. Gosh dang. It happened so fast. He's laying there, but he's still moving a little. I couldn't get the other phone up to get it on video. I would have definitely missed it if I'd done that. And that's the way it's got to be. When it's a buck, you go for the buck and you do the videoing later. He's out there. Oh, it's out there. See his back foot kicking a little bit. Give him a few more minutes to expire. Oh, Lord. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Oh, it just happened so fast. He came up, back down the hill. He heard me. He backed down the hill, and he came right back up, a little bit further out, closer to the brush pile. But I was able to. He was kind of trotting, and then he started walking, and I was able to get him. I dropped him dead in his tracks. Oh, it's out there. See his back foot kicking a little bit. Give him a few more minutes to expire. Oh, Lord. I got him down the hill, just waiting for Will to come out of his stand, out of his blind, because there's no way I won't be able to get him in the wagon, and I don't want to drag him up the blacktop road. Still shaking. Happened so daggone quick. I was watching a video, and he came up, and he stopped. I fumbled around with the GoPro, and then I was messing, or I was going to try to switch the camera from the video to, or from the YouTube video, switch it over to camera and then video, so I can get a picture of him standing there. But instead, I reached for my gun, and when I did, and I put it up on the out the window. I guess I made a little bit of a noise, and it spooked him, and he went back down the hill. He turned around and he went back down. I left the gun up there, and I didn't reach for the camera or anything like that, because I thought, well, maybe he'll come back, and he did. He came right back. He wasn't running, he wasn't trotting, but he was walking a pretty good pace, and he was about as far out as I could see where I'm at. Now that's not far. I mean, I think it's less than 100 yards, but he was all the way on this side of the brush pile. He was right up against the brush pile, but this side of it. If it had went behind it, I would have never got a shot, but he was in front of it. I had to wait for him to clear a couple trees, and as soon as he cleared the trees, he was walking slow, and I shot, and he dropped dead in his tracks. And then I was able to get the camera on him then, and you could see where he's kicking a little bit, thrashing around, and he expired quick. I mean, it all happened so fast. It probably less than 5 minutes, the whole episode. But that's the way it is with these bucks. I mean, that's the third one. At least 3 that I know of, I've shot off the top of that hill, and it's all been a matter of minutes. I mean, they're there and then they ain't, and you got to be ready all the time. And I was ready for the shot, but I just wasn't ready for get it on video. But
you know, that's the way it is sometimes. And oh shoot, still shaking. Smoking me a Victory cigar. As soon as Will gets out of his blind, we'll go down and down by the turn off to the hill and load him up in the wagon and get him hanging. And I'll send you some. I'll post some pictures of him hanging. It's a nice bodied deer, good rack, decent rack. I mean, if Kelsey had killed it, Kelsey, I know you're going to see this and you're going to hate me, but I would have probably let you mount that one. But I think I'm going to pass on mounting it. Simply because I've got some that are bigger than that. But it's a good rack. It's not a It's an 8-point, and it's not a basket rack, so it's a decent rack. So I'm happy with it. I'm excited. Whew, that's what it's all about. And yeah, Ricky, this will make some good jalapeno cheddar summer sausage. We'll definitely get some made up. So. Okay, I'm going to sit here and relight this cigar and wait on Willard. It'll be a couple more minutes before he gets up. It's starting to get dark, and he'll be up before too long. It gets darker in the woods, so we'll see you shortly. Yeah, pictures are all taken. Deer's hanging, and now it's time to get quartering him up. Another decent shot. Pretty good sized buck.
Got a pot of grits cooking for breakfast this morning. Love them grits.
Well, good morning, everybody. Today, we're going to be fixing a neck roast from a doe that was shot last year. I got my neck roast there. This is a onion soup packet. Got my brown gravy mix, ranch, and Italian, and I got a bouillon cube for my broth. And I'm going to put all this together in the crock pot, turn it on low, and let it cook for about 6 to 8 hours today. So let me get to mixing this up here. Okay, what I also added in here, which is a must with a neck roast. I've got about a half a bag of baby carrots. I got 4 or 5 stalks of celery chopped up, and a large onion. I'm going to have to run across the river and get me some potatoes, but I'm going to put me some potatoes in here. Try to get some new potatoes and cut them up, quarter them up a little bit, and put them in there as well. And then we'll get everything starting to cook, and we'll go from here. Okay, potatoes cut up. Adding potatoes, and then I'm put some salt and pepper, and all we got to do now is wait. Well, Willard came down for breakfast and had him some eggs and steak, deer steak.
Got all fat and had to take a nap.
Yep, and now you're getting ready to head back up to the pallet blind.
Try to kill one of those bucks I saw this morning.
Yep.
Alrighty. Weitzman's Heil, sir.
Weitzman's Heil. You know you got a gun rack on there.
I like that
Well, I take it he's taken a long way up there. So we'll see him later this evening. The roast is ready. It is ready. We had smell-o-vision here. Y'all can smell how good this thing is. Go on and dig in there, Willard.
Yeah, go ahead. You go ahead. I'm gonna butter me some toast or some not toast, but some bread.
Yeah, this bad boy is looking good. How's it taste, sir, Will?
Good, real good.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna chow down here, and we'll talk to you later. Okay, so yeah, 1984. Jim was from Tennessee, Ray was from Florida, and I was from Kentucky. And we were all instructors there at the weapons department in the Armor Center. And we always talked about hunting and stuff like that. I'd always tell them about how great the hunting was down here, and I always seen deer and stuff like that. I hadn't killed any deer up at that point, but I certainly loved to hunt and all that. Told him I knew some people I could probably find us a place to hunt and all that. Well, the deal was we'd hunt in Kentucky one year, then we'd go down to Tennessee and hunt there, and then we'd go to Florida, and we'd do that rotation. Well, the first year we came down here, they were talking about tornadic weather. It was pouring rain, and we all three loaded up in a pickup truck, and there wasn't no back seat in it then. It was all a single cab pickup truck, and Ray Van was driving, and he had a topper shell on the back. We had us a dome tent and, Coleman stove and stuff like that in the back. Got down there on the river, down on Frank Jones' property, and we set up the dome tent and had us a bottle of Jack, and that first night it rained so bad that we didn't think it was going to make it in the tent, so we went to the truck and popped the lid on the truck and sat on the tailgate and sat there and drank that bottle of Jack that night. Ended up falling asleep in the bed of the truck. But we made it through that season in that dome tent, and basically all you could do was sleep in it, and then during the day you were out in the elements all day long. And right beside it, in that area, there was a barn, and there was a tobacco barn and a corn crib. The corn crib was full of junk and stuff like that, and that's where Oscar and I had camped in it before as kids. And we made up our mind we was going to clean that corn crib out, and we did. There on Fort Knox, they had a R&U program where people that lived in the housing area, every one of them had a little shed at the end of their driveway, and the sheds that were all run down, you could go to self-help and get a kit and build another one, but that was the whole gist of it. It was called self-help. You did it yourself. Well, we would drive through the housing area, and we'd find sheds that looked like they were about run down and stuff, and we'd talk to the people that lived there and say, hey, look, said, if you get the shed delivered out here, you tell them you want to build a new shed, we'll build the shed for you, but we want the lumber from the old shed. And there was a lot of it was still good lumber and stuff like that, so that's what we did. I don't know, we must have built 20 or 30 sheds, I guess, that summer. And we took all that wood from that shed and came down to the deer camp, and we relined the inside, the front half of that corn crib, and that became the deer camp. Still had a coal stove in there, and found us a couple old couches that people had thrown away, some rugs that they were throwing away, because we everything we got. I think the only thing we bought was nails and paint.
And hijack the electricity off the pump jack.
Well, we did that years later, but before we ran generators, or we didn't have electricity, period. and it was all Coleman lanterns, and once it got dark, it was dark. That was it. But then my uncle, he was a lineman, so he set a meter up on a pump jack pole, and he had the bill come to his house, and it'd be about $11 for a 5-day hunt or something like that, and maybe $1 or $2 just to put it in inactive state the rest of the time. So I'd write him a check once a year for the electricity. Then we had electricity in the camp, and we never did go to Tennessee, never did go to Florida. We all killed out that year. It was a 1 deer limit, and it was buck only. And I shot a 6-point. Ray shot a 8-point, and Jim shot a 10-point. And the funny thing about it is, it was all 3 deer were killed right down the driveway here. That bean field I talk about all the time, that's Thomas's property. And the people that owned this property that we're on now wasn't JR, wasn't his brother JR. It was different people, and it was off limits to hunting. But the deer would come from this property, run out in that field, and there was a fence down the middle of it, and then they would jump the fence, and as soon as they jumped the fence, we'd shoot them. We'd shot them on the near side of the fence because we could drive our pickup truck down there and pick up the deer. And that's what we did. We set up on the hill in a hay bale. Thomas set a couple hay bales up there for us, and that's what we deer hunted out of, them hay bales. We did that for several years, and then we ended up losing our rights to hunt there. And then Oscar, who was also a founding member of the deer camp, he would always scout around for us, and he found us 50 acres called the Warren Farm. We could hunt that 50 acres, and then there was another 100 acres. We called it the 100-acre wood, and that's where we hunted the Warren Farm for years and years. Everybody's stand had a name. We had Ray's stand, the car bodies, all the stands had a name per se. And it was Ray's stand, the car body, Rick's stand, the VIP stand. So rules, unwritten rules, whatever they were back in the day, was we said there's only going to be 3 of us. Wasn't going to be a whole bunch of people and stuff like that. But then Jim came down on orders, and so he wasn't going to make it that year. So we decided that we were going to let somebody else hunt, and I believe the first person we let hunt after that was Big Ed. And then we had a Canadian instructor, a partnership instructor, Pete Wonderham. He wanted to go hunting, but what we did is we took them down there rabbit hunting first. We always rabbit hunted with them, and that way you could see how they handled guns, see how they handled their booze and stuff like that, and just the plain fact of seeing if you can get along with them. Because I tell you, seven days in a deer camp in a corn crib, and if you're with somebody that you can't get along with, it's no fun, trust me. So part of the initiation was, you went rabbit hunting with us the year before, and then you got the invite to come down. And then once they got down here, the initiation was they had to bring a half a gallon of Jack. Used to a half a gallon of Jack that lasted 7 days. Well, hell, it got to the point where a half a gallon of Jack wasn't lasting a night. And you had to eat some barbecued coon. Sam would bring over a young coon, and I'd cook it up in a pot on top of that stove and cook it until the meat fell off the bone, pretty much like I do now, and then debone it and then sauce it up with, they didn't have Sweet Baby Ray's back then, but some kind of barbecue sauce, and put it on a hamburger bun with an onion and a couple pickles, and that was their initiation fee. So then Pete and Big Ed died in a car accident, and then Pete Wonderham's rotation was done. He went back to Canada. And I think you were the next one after that.
Yep. Well, Ray was gone too when I got here.
Yeah, Ray was gone already.
It was just you and Jim Sperling.
Yeah, okay, so it was me and Jim Sperling,
Yeah.
and you,
And then me.
and then you. And you went through the same initiations. But the other thing we had is when we brought a new guy down, we'd show him where we killed deer before. And the new guy had the rights. The new guy got to pick where he wanted. And if he wanted to hunt in my stand, and I'd hunted in my stand for 4 years, then I had to let him hunt in my stand. That was the rule. And it got to the point where we ended up, that's where the name the VIP stand came in, is because everybody wanted that stand. And so we just started calling it the VIP stand. But still, if a new guy had the rights, you know, they could still hunt it whatever stand was they wanted. And then after Jim left, I was stationed down in Georgia. You were up here, and you hunted with a couple guys off and on, and then you told me about these two guys, Frank and Fernando.
No, before that, we had Rupnick.
Well, we had
Joe Rupnick, well, before you ever went to the academy.
Yeah.
Joe hunted 1 year with us, I think, was it.
Yeah.
He hunted with me 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Because you were gone, but you got to hunt with him 1 year.
Yeah.
Because he would shoot a 223, and he'd shoot them deer right behind the ear.
Yeah.
And that's how he
Yeah.
killed them. Joe was an Indian guy, Potawatomi Indian.
Yeah.
Boy, did he drink. Jesus.
Yeah. He and I both had a drinking spree one night, and we never drank while we hunted, but afterwards everything was wide open, and we got to throwing knives, sticking knives in the wall, and knives would be bouncing off the wall and flying everywhere.
200-year-old oak. Yeah, they weren't sticking in the 200-year-old oak. They were flying all over the place. I'm ducking and jiving and trying to get out of the way of these two drunks.
Yeah. So after Joe, then was it Frank and Fernando?
I'm trying to think. After Joe, no, it was Lenny first.
Okay.
Lenny, because I met Frank and Fernando when I retired and went to General Dynamics as a recruiter. Is when I met Frank and Fernando at the PX. And I didn't invite Fernando the first time. I just invited, we invited Frank. Because he had never been hunting before.
About having them down, and I said, well, I don't know who they are, but I'll tell you like this: if they're a friend of yours or a friend of mine, biggest mistake I ever made. No,
Like I said,
Will and
Frank
Frank.
had never been hunting before. Then within less than a year, he was an expert and knew everything there was to ever know about guns and hunting.
Yeah.
And we didn't know shit.
Yeah. And but Frank and Will would fight and argue
Oh, God.
over everything. I remember when I brought Ricky down his first time, and he was like, "Dad, are they really friends?" And I said, "Oh yeah, they're good friends." I said, "That's what friends do sometimes."
You'd drive me insane.
But we'd be tearing down the camp, for example, and by then, somewhere in all this story, the cabin burnt down. Supposedly there was some kids. Every year somebody broke the lock and they'd go in there and ransack the cabin and stuff like that. But there wasn't anything of importance in there. We didn't leave anything, of importance out. But they would ransack it and stuff like that. Then one year I said, one day some kid's gonna come in here with a 22 and they're gonna shoot all our Jack Daniels bottles, because we'd take our empty Jacks and we'd set them on a beam at the front door, which is why when you go to down at the barn and you look at the front door of my barn, that resembles the corn crib. It's kind of made in memory of that corn crib, and all the empty Jack bottles went up there. And I wish I'd remembered or numbered the bottle number 1 or something like that, but it's up on the shelf. It's a half-gallon of Jack up there somewhere. And I said, somebody's gonna come down here and they're just gonna take a 22 and shoot all our bottles. And I said, that's gonna really piss me off, because there ain't no way I can drink that much Jack again. And we had half the bottles we got up there now. So we were down here, I don't know, we was dove hunting or something, and I just loaded up all the bottles in the truck and took them back home with me. And I'll be danged if between that time and the time deer season started, the cabin burnt down. Story was somebody was in there making meth and caught it on fire, and the corn crib burned down. So then we started camping in campers, and we Frank and Will and I, we all pitched in and bought a camper and stuff, and
Which was pretty comfortable.
which was comfortable. It was a nice sized camper and all that, and but when the hunt was over, we'd be breaking down the camper and putting things away, and you just don't hook up a camper and haul ass. There's things you got to do.
You and I would be breaking the camper down.
Yeah, Frank
Frank
would
would
be
be folding his friggin' clothes,
folding
packing it, folding them all 4x4, and
folding his underwear, putting them back
Like
in
an
his
old
little
woman.
wall locker over there, and Will would get
Drive
in
me
his
insane.
ass. Frank wouldn't clean the table off. He'd eat and then leave his plate on the table, like Will or I, one, are supposed to take it and put it in the trash for him. Left the door open all the time. Yeah, he wasn't much of a camping partner to have with. And,
No, he
and
wasn't.
when Ricky came down, Ricky got done eating and he threw his plate right in the trash, and Will was like, "Okay, you know the deal, son. You know the deal."
yeah. And I was like,
But
Frank, why can't you do what he's doing?
I done-
He's like 8.
I done warned him over and over and over. I said, "Okay, Ricky, don't leave the door open. Make sure you throw your trash away."
Yeah. Like another guy, you didn't know. Now Mud came down there, but he never deer hunted. He didn't do deer
No,
hunting.
he
He
rabbit
was
hunted.
rabbit.
He
He was a
rabbit
rabbit guy. Stony Burke, you never knew him.
No.
He was another guy. He was my motor sergeant after Harp, and I invited him down, but he only came down there 1 year. He passed away during Desert Storm.
Yeah.
But he's the other one. He's another guy that came down.
I know when I was down at Stewart, I had Jim Sedgwick come up one year. He was the one that took care of me down at Fort Stewart for deer hunting and hog hunting down there. So I invited him up one year, and he deer hunted up here. And then Ricky, when he was 9 years old, he hunted a couple years with us. And I remember hunting with your father-in-law,
Yep.
and I don't know if Jerry deer hunted. I think he came up for black powder one year. I'm not sure,
I don't remember.
but I know he came up rabbit hunting.
Oh yeah, he rabbit hunted with us.
But that's the other thing, and down at the barn is I got the Stomtish set up there, and I got them bar stools, and I need to get more made. I only got 4 made up, and then on each chair there's going to be 4 names, and the names on those chairs were members of the deer camp. And the other rule we kind of had is once you're a member of the deer camp, you're always a member of the deer camp. You're welcome back anytime and stuff like that. And so there were a couple years it got 4 or 5 of us down there at a time, and got pretty crowded then. But we always managed to have a place to hunt. We had I'm trying to think, who was the new guy when the new guy wanted the stand Frank was wanting to hunt in, and Frank didn't want, Frank had, oh, by the way, had already shot the largest deer ever down here.
Yeah.
He shot a nice buck, 8-10 point or something, and big massive antlers,
Just down the
massive
fence
rack.
row from the canopy.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Who was that guy that wanted it?
but somebody wanted it, and Frank was pissed. That second year, Frank was so pissed. He got mad at his hell with it. I ain't going to hunt then. I'm just going to stay here at the cabin, and I'm not going to go over there and hunt. And he stayed at the cabin. And we were like, okay, well, if that's what you want to do. So we went over to the Warren farm, and Frank stayed there at the cabin. Well, he didn't stay long. He walked down the fence row and got up in that stand and shot another big buck.
Mm-hmm.
And that one we have on the wall down at the barn, because his wife, one wouldn't let him spend the money to mount another. And first of all, she didn't even want the one he had hanging in the house. He had to hang it in the basement. And so I took it over to get it mounted. And I told Frank, if you ever want him back, you know, it'll cost you I think it was $320 back then to mount a deer head. It's almost $600 to get one mounted now. $500-$600 to get one mounted. But Frank shot the two biggest deer out of this camp, and both of them off the river. One of the deer I've got mounted came off the river. Ricky's first deer was a doe, came off the river. But yet we had deer all around us there at the cabin, but we'd drive, 5 miles, 10 miles away to hunt another place, but we killed deer there too, so.
Yeah, we killed deer wherever we went.
Yeah,
We're always,
yeah.
no loss of deer.
The one year, and
We go across the river in Sebring.
yeah,
the big rivers there or whatever.
Seaway, we used to be able to hunt over there. I remember, so the one year, Gunny Robinson was a Marine instructor. He was hunting and Big Ed was hunting. And Gunny was from North Carolina, and he had never seen any big deer or anything before. And he shot the first deer. You could shoot does then. The season was 7 to 10 days long. You could shoot does. And he shot a small doe. And we didn't tell him. He was like, man, that's a small doe, and then, oh, that's a big doe. That's a big doe. We was messing with him and stuff, and then the next thing you know, somebody else shot a doe, and it was twice that size, and I shot a doe off of Thomas's place, and it was the biggest doe I'd ever shot. It field dressed at over 200 pounds, and that year, the picture at the end of the season, there was 4 of us hunting, and I think Big Ed had a buck. I'd have to look at the picture, but Big Ed had a buck and a doe. I had 2 does, and it may have been Ray.
Well, everybody, it's Thursday afternoon, about 2 p.m. It's 58 degrees out right now, and that's the high for today. It's supposed to hang in at 58 for a couple hours, and then at 4 o'clock it will start dropping. Made a quick trip home Wednesday. We hunted Wednesday morning, and then Wednesday afternoon we left and came back, and gave me some time to cut up the doe and the buck. Got that all processed. I'll show you a picture here. I got I think it was like 64 steaks. 6 roast. I used the round tips. Got 4 roasts with that, and then I had the 2 neck roasts. Got 2 hearts. And you can tell by the picture which one was the buck and which one was the doe. That buck heart was like twice as big as that doe heart. The 4 tenderloins and a couple packages of stew meat. Out of my 64 steaks, I got I think it was like 52 butterfly back straps. And if you'd have taken those butterfly steaks and just cut them into single steaks, that would have been 104 steaks there. And the buck, I probably could have got by with that, because those butterfly steaks are huge, and I wrap mine 4 to a pack, so that's going to be a lot of eating. That'll be about 2, maybe 3 days worth of eating for breakfast. Dinner meal, I could probably tear them all up, but didn't grind anything. I got about 100 pounds of meat left over that I want to do some summer sausage up with, and try to make some deer brats and maybe even some deer sticks. Contemplating whether to buy a stuffer or to try to use my grinder as a stuffer. I've been watching some YouTubes on using the grinder as a stuffer, and it seems to be doable. So I may just try to do that. But anyway, I got home probably about 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and by the time I got done, it was 10 o'clock at night by the time I got everything wrapped. A lot of breaks in between. Went up to the house, and wife had supper ready, and we watched I rewatched Yellowstone, and she watched it for the first time. And then went back down to the barn and finished up. All I had to do then was the wrapping. Got everything in the freezer, so those 2 are put away. So what's the objective now? Well, I think I want to get a nice dough to where I can just grind it all up in the burger, minus the back straps. I'll make steaks out of them, but grind the rest of it up in the burger. Can't have too much burger. So it's a little windy up here. We'll see how things go. Check back in with you if we see any action here. Oh, by the way, so after I did shoot my buck, Will used my stand. He used the pallet blind in the afternoon, and I think the next day, Monday, Tuesday. Yeah, I slept in 2 mornings, and he used the pallet blind, and surprisingly, he saw a lot of bucks. They were all not close enough to get a shot off, except for a spike. He said he had a spike come up within 30 yards of the blind, and then another time within 20 yards. It's like it doesn't even know this blind exists. And in one of my previous hunting videos, it was the first year I built the blind. I worried about whether or not deer would get used to it. I put it together on a Labor Day weekend, and I was hunting with it in early October. And a spike just walked right up to it too. I mean, I could have stuck the barrel out and popped him in the nose, but once they get used to something, it doesn't bother them a bit. You know, yeah, it's open all around, but the bottom part, I've got that roofing paper that blocks off all the wind and cracks in the boards and stuff like that. And then I got my boards on there, and now I've got a burlap bag wrapped around it, camo burlap, so that does good. I think what I want to do is break down and get me another bundle of it and cut it to size and do the top part. Get it all camouflaged up. I'm still not in favor of covering my windows though. I mean, the buddy heater does good for putting heat when and where you need it. Haven't been in extreme cold up here yet, but I like the 360 view, and I'm not a big fan of the see-through screen fabric. I could come up with some of that, but doesn't seem to bother the deer. I've shot I don't know how many out of this blind already, but it doesn't seem to bother them. I think it's, you know, if I get moving and I bang stuff around here, that's going to bother them. But aside from that, I think as long as I'm quiet and all that, would have been nice to have this thing elevated and have it as a condo, like I had on the Warren farm. Yeah, it would have been nice. I wouldn't have put it in this spot though, because I don't think being up in the air would have given me much advantage here, other than I'm, you know, the scent traveling and stuff like that. But there's so much underbrush up in this area that I don't know that I could see down through it as good as I can right now. So definitely gonna come back through here this winter, and if I don't clear all this underbrush, I'm gonna definitely clear me some shooting lanes and go with that. So seems like that's the way I have to do anyway with the bigger trees. I have to wait for the deer to clear the bigger tree, and it's like I almost ambush them as soon as they're broadside and they come out of that tree. So, but anyway, let's sit here and see what we can see this afternoon. Downpoured again yesterday afternoon and most of the morning, but it was supposed to stop about 6 o'clock this morning, but I think it was more like 8 or 9 before it stopped raining. So we'll see what we get. I'll get back with you when we see some action or not. It's about 4:30 and no action up here on the hill. Well, good morning, everybody. It's Friday morning, and got the crock pot loaded. You can't see it in there, but we got 2 rabbits in there. Got it set on low. It's 5:30 now. Figure about 12:30, 11:30, 12:30, it should be ready to eat. We might be eating some of this for lunch today. But anyway, getting ready to head out. Got the crock pot cooking. Got my butt pack stock. Gun loaded up. You find your gloves?
No. I think I probably left them out the blind.
Are you headed down?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay. About 5:30 in the morning, getting ready to head out to the blind.
Willard's hoping that 6 or 8 point will show back up. Just need me a dough for some burger. We'll see how the day goes.
I don't think they fell out of my pockets yesterday.
Yeah, I'm sure they're camouflaged. You'll be able to find them.
No, they're white.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. You wear them white leather gloves.
Yeah. Well, I can't find my yellow ones. They were sitting here. I don't know where they're at. Can't find shit. Happens when you're old.
Yep.
They could be on my hands and I wouldn't find them. Here's David. I don't know where they went to. Not in here.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna head on up top of the hill.
Where they're at.
Oh, in your pack.
God.
What a novel concept.
Yeah, put them someplace where you'll find them later.
Yeah.
Works for me.
Okay, I'm gonna head on up.
All right, license out.
Weitzman's Howl. See y'all at top of the hill. One of them's decent. I want to try to get a shot off at her. They moved off to the left. I'd take a shot before I get the camera set up. Dropped her in her tracks. So I just shot that deer. Haven't turned off the camera. And the other one is standing right there. Which tells me this is probably a young deer I shot. Deer's still here. Hasn't even left the area.
Pretty sure I got the larger of the two though. Well, I think that's it for me. I'll get the four-wheeler and pick up the trailer and haul this thing out. And pass on the stand if Will wants to use it. Let's see what time it is. I think it's still fairly early. Yeah, it's 8:26. 8:26, still about, I think it's 40, 48 degrees. Hardly any wind at all. Yeah, 40, 49 degrees now. Yeah, 49 degrees, so hardly any wind. You can see some leaves moving there, but no wind per se, just a slight breeze, if anything. Okay, well, I'm gonna go on and pack up, go over here and check the deer, and then go get the four-wheeler and haul her out. Yeah, this deer here is a yearling. A little bit smaller than would have liked to harvest. That's why that other one never ran off. Yeah, just a yearling. Okay, let me drag her over here to the trail and go get the four-wheeler. Well, good morning, everybody. Rick here, and it's Saturday morning. I think this is going to be our last day of hunting. Will's up in the pallet blind. Saw a buck this morning, too far off to see how many points, and it went behind the brush pile. Haven't got a report lately from him, and it's about let's see, it's 8:41, so I don't know if he's seen anything else yet or not. Temperatures 50 degrees, and it's supposed to be partly sunny all day, high 61, so I reckon this is his last day. I've got a buck and two does so far as you're tracking, and popped a few squirrels yesterday evening late. Now I'm getting ready to walk the south trails and do the same, try to get a mess of squirrels. But everything's going good so far. Bitesman's howl for Will. I know he'll see something. I've been seeing does every day up there. So the funny thing is, he keeps seeing bucks when he's up there, and I only saw one buck the whole trip out here so far, and we know where it's hanging. So okay, well, I want to head the trails. I'll see you later. Saturday evening, just got done eating some brats and beans. Listened to the Kentucky Murray State football game. They easily won that, as they should have.
And we have no deer to skin tonight.
Nope.
Didn't you say you saw one this morning?
Saw
or
a buck,
something?
yeah.
Yeah, saw.
Coming from the same direction they came from last time. It's just too far to shoot. I was hoping it'd have something else with it.
Yeah, you saw a buck this morning. What, a big coyote this afternoon?
Yeah, twice. I saw him go down the hill and I saw him come back.
And he hunted out of the pallet line today. So tomorrow morning, we're going to wrap it up, head out. I got Janelle's birthday party tomorrow, or a birthday dinner rather. It's her birthday. And then I'm off Monday, but it looks like I may make it back down here Friday, Saturday, Sunday for the last 3 days of the season. Just for the heck of it. Be able to close out the camp and the 40th anniversary of the deer camp. Of course, we still got late black powder in December. Middle part of December. And I think we plan on coming down then.
Yep.
And then the rabbit hunts begin.
Yeah, I can't do any worse
after
for black
this-
powder than I did for gun.
After this upcoming weekend, rabbit hunting will start up.
I gotta call that guy. I knew I saved his number here. I can't remember what his name was now. For hunting over on that property. He says, all you gotta do is call me and I'll let you know if anybody's hunting there. Because I told him there'll only be 2 vehicles. My big white truck and your truck. Well, I don't have a big white truck.
Yeah, yeah.
So I gotta get him. He's got it all. He gets an alarm alert on his cam and it shows a picture of the truck coming in and out. So
Yeah.
he'll call me. He's got my number too.
And where's this property at?
The pond's over there across by the railroad tracks. Not the White House, but farther down the railroad tracks.
Yeah.
Where you can't go across the bridge anymore. You gotta go around the backside.
Yeah.
That's his property, or that's his uncle's property. And they hunted, him and his grandson hunted. You gotta make sure they're done deer hunting.
Yeah. Yeah, the ones we usually hunt on.
Yeah.
All the way down.
And we'll be able to do, the White House too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those should be the first 2 places to go. I don't know if we wanna waste our time going out to Sonora or not.
I don't know.
I mean, we
I
can go
don't
out there, but
know.
if there's people hunting, that'll be a waste of our time. I would say if we're gonna go out there, we go out there on a Friday,
Yeah, on Friday. Yeah.
not on a Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
In fact, we might want to use that as our first hunt Friday.
Yeah.
Go out there that first hunt on a Friday, and if they're not there, we'll hunt. If they are, well, then we'll just go to the White House.
Yeah.
And then we've got to get with Danny
Yeah.
and see what days he can hunt. Because he said he's got 2 more farms now to hunt.
Well, that one he's got's a gold mine.
Yep.
I mean, it was loaded with rabbits, and I don't see why it wouldn't be this year either. Rabbits around the house have been crazy. I mean,
What's the last day of rabbits, you said?
down here it's February 10th.
Okay.
Up there, I think it's January 31st.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good, because I'm scheduling my shoulder surgery for the 20th of February.
Because it ends earlier up there because it starts earlier. We done missed 8 days of rabbit hunting. It's something that folks don't do. You don't see as much here in Kentucky as people rabbit hunting and deer hunting and squirrel hunting and quail hunting and all the small game hunting at the same time as deer hunters are out. But yet you get in states like Alabama and Georgia, it's the deer season is so long that you know theirs have always overlapped, and it's never been issues with people down there. Here it's I think more of a mindset, you know. I wouldn't want to rabbit hunt on somebody's property if they're out there deer hunting.
Oh, I wouldn't either. Piss them off, or they end up shooting my dog.
I've seen some comments on Kentucky public land hunting site where people are complaining about shots being fired in an area that's supposed to be bow only, and then other people say, well, it is open for rabbit hunting. There could be rabbit hunters out there and stuff like that. And, you know, that's what you have to face with in public land. You know, small game hunters have just as much right as a deer hunter on it, so.
When did rabbit season start?
It starts the first Monday after opening weekend of gun season. So it's been open all week. It's open now all the way through February 10th down here, and January 31st up on the eastern side, which I don't understand why they split it up like that. Seems like I don't understand the logic behind the split seasons for small game. Squirrel, it's not like that, but rabbit and quail, it is.
Yeah, I thought Janelle's birthday party was tomorrow.
It is.
Okay, I thought you said it was Monday when you were doing your recording.
No. I'm leaving tomorrow to be back by noon or 12:30 or so, and then we'll have dinner. The goal was to try to have dinner before 5 o'clock because Ricky's still working his shift. I have a hard time reading his shift with EMS, but if it's a blacked out day, he's working that day, and he starts that day at 2 o'clock in the morning and doesn't get off until 6 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then when he gets off at 6 p.m., he's not ready to go out to dinner for 2 or 3 hours. He's ready to hit the sack and get some sleep so he can do it all again the next day. But he's on his last day of a 3-day shift, so. But I think I'll just drink that beer and listen to the rest of the post-game Kentucky game, and we'll see what happens in the morning. Willard's going to hit the pallet blind in the morning.
Yep.
And give it another shot. Have all the confidence in the world that he's going to bag out. Just shoot 3 or 4 deer. And take a trailer load with him.
Yeah.
So we'll see y'all in the morning. Sunday morning, 9 o'clock, 52 degrees out. Got everything packed